time check. It is coming up on about 1 minute or 2 minutes before the hour. I've got it cropped a little bit there at the top. Got it cropped a little bit tight, so it's a little bit hard to tell the exact time there at the top of the hour. But we're getting there, and so we're going to have a little bit of time for the wrench gang to come in, and then we're going to start this show. And this is going to be a really good show, really big show. Really, really big. We're going to talk about traveling. A little bit there at the top. We're going to talk about traveling, and Carlos is in the house already. And we might have Carlos pop in and share later on his ideal travel watch. If you're going on the road and you're going to grab one watch and go, and it's going to have to deal with some heavy-duty situations. You know, when you're traveling, anything can happen. So what do you do? What watch do you grab? Warren is in the house, and Warren can hopefully pop in later as well. And we're going to have some guests. We're going to have some guests, and M. Edmond is in the house. Is this going live? I hope we're live. Let me know in the chat if we're live. I think we're live. I hope we are. And let me see here. I'm going to pull up. Pull up the pictures here too. Let's see here. Okay, and here's George. George's email, okay. All right, and we are going to bring George in from England to show his live in effect. As you want, fine for me. Okay, Carlos can pop in later on. And James is in the house, Wrench Gang's in the house, Durr's in the house. All the shows are really good shows. Well, there you go. That's what we say anyway. We say it, does that make it so? And by the way, this shirt that I'm wearing is a Kenneth Gordon. It's part of their, it's a linen shirt. And for travel, I like wearing linen because it holds up pretty good and looks pretty good, even with multiple, if you wear it for multiple days. And this is their Heritage collection. And Kenneth Gordon, they make some nice shirts. And they, in the United States of America, now they're owned by the company up in Pennsylvania. Anyway, I can't think of the name. They got bought out, but I think they still, I think Kenneth Gordon still makes their shirts in the USA. So check it out. Check it out. Hey, Craig, I saw a video you made about a solar-powered Seiko chronograph driver. Was wondering what your long-term opinion. It gave trouble. I returned it to Costco. It gave trouble. That was a fail. That was a fail. By the way, it is warm here today. I mean, I'm a little bit overheating right now. And very warm day here in Maryland. And of course, I'm too cheap to turn on air conditioning. So that's the way that works. Let's see if we can bring in George, our guest, our wonderful guest. Let me get my headset on, because George will be coming in via Skype as usual. And let's see here if I can find George. You know, he's not he's not showing up in my Skype here. Notifications, calls. George, if you're listening, we need you to, George, I need you to call me on Skype, because you're not sure. Here he is. Somebody's calling in. Okay. There's the call coming in. Okay, we've got George in the house. Yeah, turn the phone the other way.
Landscape.
Yeah, perfect. That fills everything up. Absolutely.
Oh.
Working like a champ, and you're coming in from the UK.
I am Cambridge, UK.
Cambridge, okay. And let's start right out by showing that watch that you've got. because there aren't that many people that have this watch yet. This is
No.
the GMT Master with the 9F movement. Go ahead and get it in front of the camera there.
Okay.
Do you have something that you can lean the phone against, like a book or something, so you can like stabilize the phone? While you're doing that, I'll cut back to my diver so we can do a time check there. We're coming up on 3 minutes past the hour. Yeah, any kind of a book or anything you can lean it against. Okay, all right, there we go. There we go. There it is on wrist. And go ahead and turn your wrist around a little bit, yeah, so we can see the profile. Now, see how thin that is? So this is from the side view. See how thin it's about 12 mils, and it sits right on the wrist. And see how those lugs curve right around the wrist? That's critical in a travel watch, because sometimes you need that travel watch to be able to go under a shirt cuff. Because remember, you need maximum versatility when you're traveling, and the subject of this show is travel watches. And then the other thing that's really interesting about that watch from a travel standpoint, of course, it is a GMT. And you can jump that hour hand back and forth as needed as you travel through various time zones. And back it away a little bit. It's a little bit out of focus. Perfect, right there. It's nail in focus right there. And so for timing purposes, you can move that hour hand back and forth. And of course, it's spot on accurate because it's the 9F movement. And the other advantage of that 9F movement is it's bulletproof reliable. It's extremely robust, extremely shock resistant. And that is a screw down crown. That's a waterproof case. So let us know, what are your thoughts on the watch so far?
Well, it's great. I really like it. It's my new baby, so I haven't worn it very much yet.
Mm-hmm.
But it's great. Sort of almost an everyday wear watch.
How comfortable is it on wrist?
It's great because you were saying the low profile, so it works with anything really, t-shirt or a jacket and shirt. You know, it will go under a cuff easily because of the slim profile. Now this one is the blue dial, correct? It is, but it looks very dark. You can just about pick up blue,
it looks dark in this photo, but it's kind of like a dark blue.
It is a very dark blue. I mean, at a glance, you could just take it for black, really.
I think that's the way to go because I like the red. The 24-hour hand is red.
Yeah.
And whereas on the black one, and they're commenting in the comments, same comment, on the black one, it's got the orange 24-hour hand, and I like the red 24-hour hand. Yeah, I looked at both of them, and this is the one I chose. Thought it looked much better. Now the numbers on the bezel, they're black still, though, right? Yeah, they're kind of engraved and filled with some kind black lacquer,
enamel, whatever. Yeah.
Let's see. Looks great. Just wish the bracelet was brushed finishing. It is brushed.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, it is brushed. It's all brushed. It's got on the edges, on the very edge, it's got a polished edge, but the vast majority of it is brushed.
That's right. The solid end links are polished. So yeah.
Yeah. Now, can you take it off wrist for a second and just hold it sideways to the camera so we can see how thin it is?
Where are we?
Okay, and can you put your hand behind it so that it'll focus? Yeah. Okay, and move it a little bit to your left. Yeah, perfect. Okay, now see how thin that watch is, and also not only thin, but you see how the lugs curve, so they'll curve around the wrist, and also how the bezel is sloped so that it'll slip right underneath that shirt cuff. These are all very important details that, believe it or not, a lot of watches don't, hit these check boxes. So now Warren says it looks very legible. Okay, so let's talk about that. How legible is that watch in all lighting conditions?
Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, you've obviously got the dark dial and the polished hands. There is some lume in the hands.
Yeah, can you face the camera with the dial now so we can see the dial? Yep, perfect. And put that one hand flat behind it So yeah, so that we get good focus. Good. Okay. Good. Yeah. Yeah, it looks pretty legible. I mean, just from everything I can see. If the hands were a little beefier, of course, Grand Seiko always wants to go with those pointed hands, right? That's their trademark.
Yeah, quite nice.
If they were a little bit thicker and beefier, that would make it more legible. But it looks pretty legible from what I can tell.
Yeah, it's good. Well, it's it's not an out-and-out sport watch. It's a sort of hybrid, really. It is 100 meters water resistant, and it's screw down bezel. But like I say, I think it works with any attire, really.
It's really an all-arounder, really.
Yeah.
So how I would categorize this is it's really extremely versatile. And so let's see what other comments we have. Lovely GMT, it's a beauty. Classy watch. Congratulations, George. That's from James.
Thank you.
Yeah, and there's another comment from James up above. A vintage Rolex GMT Pepsi would be the ultimate travel companion. We'll talk about that. We're going to show some competitive options. Absolutely, we're going to do that. And by the way, we're probably going to have a special guest coming in from Steve from Little Treasury. Has some of these watches in stock, so he's going to be showing some of these watches and talking about them as well, because he can make one of these appear for you. So, so you say you haven't had it that long, and you said you haven't worn it that much. Why are you not wearing it?
Well, I don't know, really. I'm just a bit scared of scratching it. But no, it's going to be.
Boy.
I've had it for about 10 days, I think, and I've worn it 3 or 4 times. I've got a few other watches that I wear, but it will get plenty of wear. Definitely.
How do you rank it so far as among your collection? Where would you rank this one?
Well, because it's a new watch, I suppose it's a favourite now. But I have a Rolex Explorer 1, the original.
Yeah.
And it ranks very well against that. I mean, the finishing.
Which watch is thicker, this one or the Explorer?
The Explorer is a bit.
Okay.
I haven't got my ruler out, but but this is my first Grand Seiko, and I'm really, really impressed with the workmanship and the finishing.
Okay, here's a really great question. How does the build quality feel in comparison to other watches? Let's compare it to the Explorer, because they're very similar watches in a lot of ways. How would you compare the build quality of this watch to the Explorer?
Comparable. I think the Explorer is it feels a bit more solid. It's a bit more
a little bit heavier. A little bit heavier, right?
It's a bit heavier, yeah.
Okay.
But the build quality, comparable, really, I would say.
What about the case, like the finishing on the case and the dial, the indices, all that sort of thing? How would you compare the two?
Excellent. I've looked at them both with a magnifying glass, and really good. Really, really good.
So they're both on par as far as that.
Both top notch. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Well, there you go. And there's a comment, can't believe they didn't put micro adjustments in the class. I would like to have micro adjustments as well. I'm with you on that comment. But, what they went for was a lower profile clasp. I mean, you can't really have both.
No.
You got to pick.
I had to take one link out of the bracelet to fit me. But there are...
half links.
There's one half link and 2...
There should be one half link on each side, right?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. One half link, 2 full links on either side that can be removed.
Yeah. And Dawn says, Grand Seiko brainwashing again. Hey, it is what it is. The watch is a nice watch. It's a nice watch. We call it the way we see it here on this channel. I mean, you got a live report coming from a gentleman who just spent his hard-earned money on this watch, and this isn't me saying this. This is him saying this. I mean, that's why I'm asking him these questions, and he can answer any way he'd like. And I think that anybody that examines these watches most people that I've heard that have actually had them in their hand and examined them have been pretty impressed.
Yeah, my first Grand Seiko, and I'm very impressed.
Well, there you go. That you got that report from the UK. Anything else that you want to say before we bring Steve in from Little Treasury?
No, I think that's covered about all of it, really, I think.
Now, what are your plans for this watch? I mean, did you buy it to use for some traveling, or what's your main use case?
No, it's going to be more or less an everyday wear watch, you know, in rotation. I don't travel through very many time zones per year, so it won't necessarily be used for that.
Okay, James asked a question, is the AR coating on the top and bottom or just bottom? I think it's on the underside of the crystal.
Yeah, underside.
It's inside, so it won't wear off.
Yeah.
So you're not going to have quite as good. Oh, Steve's calling. Let me see if I can, how I can add him. See if this works. I want to add him as opposed to cut you off if I can. We're going to try this. I don't know if this is going to work or not. We tried this the other day and had some issues with it.
Yeah, I saw that.
Answering his call will place your call on hold, or you can merge calls. Is this merging calls? Oh. Okay, Steve's in the house. All right, we got you in.
Hi, everybody.
We got you merged. I finally figured out how to merge the calls.
Okay.
And so, yeah, that's a beauty. I'm going to do a time check real quick. It's almost it's coming up on 15 past the hour, and we've got George in the house with you, and he is showing the exact same model that you have on the screen. And on yours, it does look a little more blue. The dial looks, because of the lighting, it looks darker. On yours, it looks more like the real color, Steve. And that is stunning. That really looks stunning in that shot. Now, the 24-hour hand, that is red, correct? It looks a little orange in this shot, but
it's actually in the photography, they merge a little bit, and it merges toward the orange, and that's definitely a red.
It's definitely in person. It's definitely red.
Definitely.
Yes.
Now, what about on the one with the black dial?
That is orange.
Okay, so that's the difference. Okay, I'm with you now. Okay, so that's the one with the black dial.
Yeah, that looks different to you, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does look a little different. Mm-hmm. The dial on the other one, I think I prefer. Switch back to the other one again. And yeah, I think I prefer the dark blue. It's kind of like a dark blue, really. It's a very attractive color.
It looks pretty black unless you get a highlight off of it.
Okay, yeah, it looks pretty stunning. Let me know in the comments, folks, what you all think about that. I mean, he's got a nice close-up shot there of the dial, and let me know what you think.
It does have a subtle sunburst as well in bright light.
Okay. All right, and George, what other watches do you have in rotation? Warren is asking the question.
Okay, I have an Omega Seamaster Aquaterra 150. I've got the Rolex Explorer. I've got this. I've got a vintage Omega Seamaster from 1963, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, which is a nice one. And I've got a few SARBs. And I bought the blue Alpinist from Hodinkee. And I have just got a new vintage watch, which is 11 years old, which is another Seiko GMT, which is an SBGN005, which is also GMT and Perpetual Canada.
Okay, well, here we go. Jarvis just said in the comments he picked up a Grail watch. He picked up the Sky Dweller with the black face. All right, Jarvis, you're going to have to Skype in one day and show us that puppy. That sounds like a gorgeous watch. RJ Lane says black with orange is quite sporty. I love the high contrast. RJ Lane, you don't like the blue with the red? Let's see, nice pickup, Jarvis, and that's congratulating him on that other watch. And I love the GMT Grand Seikos. That's coming from the Watch Lounge.
Mm-hmm.
How helpful have YouTube watch gurus been in your watch purchase decisions? I guess that's for you, George.
Sorry, say again.
How helpful have YouTube watch gurus been in your purchase decisions? Have any of the videos on YouTube helped with your decisions?
Yes, I mean, when I buy a watch or look at a watch, you can see all the as much sales literature and studio photos, advertising photos, but I like to get real world pictures and videos, from people on YouTube or just Googling images. Yeah.
Okay, so RJ Lane asked, does this weigh about what a pre-ceramic sub weighs? What is the weight of that watch?
I don't know without checking.
Somebody in chat is saying about 150 grams, so it's close. Yeah. Blue is great as well. I'd take either, says RJ Lane. All right. Well, I have to absolutely congratulate you, George. That's a beauty. That's an absolute beauty. I think that could be your most versatile watch, given the list of watches you just talked about. That could be your most versatile. It's definitely the most accurate. Of all the watches that you're not got to worry about the accuracy on that puppy. I can tell you that right now. So, hey, wear it in good health. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we let you go?
No, you can let me go. That'd be great.
All right. Hey, thank you, and we'll bring you back on another time to show your whole collection. Yeah,
that'd be great. Good. Nice to speak to you.
Yep, I'll let you go ahead and hang up yourself.
Okay.
Oh, there was a last second question. Are you considering buying another GS? If so, which one? Sorry, Colin. We lost him before I got a chance to. Maybe he'll get in the chat and you can ask him again. That is the 25th anniversary.
It is SBGN005.
Now, the one that's on the screen right now, it has the little star, and so it is within 5 seconds a year.
Correct.
But it's basically the same thickness as the other watch we just saw, correct?
It's 1 millimeter, 1/10 of a millimeter thicker. It's 12.2.
1/10. Yeah. Okay. So we can call it the same.
1 millimeter greater in diameter.
Okay.
It's 40. The others are 39.
Okay.
So there's some interesting differences between this and
is the case a slightly different shape?
It's definitely a different animal. First, look at there's no loom compared to the other one.
No loom, correct.
The other two. The 24-hour indicators are on the dial, interspersed with the stick indicators for the hours. Yep. And of course, it's got the extra accurate movement. It has a polished bezel, and if you compare the two watches, it's extremely interesting. They have the same number of polished versus brushed surfaces, but they go in a different way. If you look at next to the end link, you'll see a little sliver of polished. Okay. And then it gets matte or brushed, and then on the sides, it's polished again. And of course, the bezel is polished. So it's the exact opposite polishing matte scheme of the SBGN 3 and 5 that we've been looking at.
Okay. Can we see a side view to see the shape of the case from the side real quick?
Yeah. Yeah, it might be interesting if I can...
Well, actually, put the face down. Actually, what I want you to do is put the face down on the desk so we can see from the side. Yeah, and turn it sideways.
Okay,
And just the one. Yeah, just the one you were just showing. Don't worry about the other one for now. There we go. That's the view I wanted to see, and it's a little bit out of focus. Maybe it needs to be. There we go. Oh wow. Okay. That's spot on. Okay, so yeah, it also looks like the lugs curve, so it will nicely drape around the wrist. It's different, but very similar to the other one, as far as it looks like it's also going to drape on the wrist very nicely.
Mm-hmm.
Correct?
Yes, they're both, I think, fairly equivalent in terms of wearability.
Now, somebody's asking in the chat, how do you compare the accuracy of a high beat movement compared to Swiss chronometers? I think they're competitive. I think the high beat movement is very competitive with like a Rolex or just about anything like that. I think they're all pretty good these days. And the Omegas are pretty accurate these days. I think they're all pretty similar. When you get a high-end GS or high-end Omega or Rolex, I think they're all going to be pretty, within a second or two a day. They're not going to be anywhere near as accurate as this watch you're looking at right now, though, on the screen. They're not going to touch that. That's 5 seconds a year, folks. Okay, that is stunning. All right, what do you have next?
That's about it for
There's the blue one again, okay.
Yeah, the SBGN005 is long gone everywhere. That's the one with the
limited edition.
Yeah, with the yellow.
Okay.
Well, this green one is limited also to 1,200 pieces. The 25th anniversary.
Yeah, the one with the star on the dial. Basically, the ones with the star on the dial, the 5 second a year, those were limited editions, correct?
Yeah.
And Kev says, nice to see drilled lugs. Absolutely. I love the drilled lugs. I think it makes sense.
Craig, if you want to bring up some of the photos I sent you, they might want to see the, the night loom.
We'll do that in just a second. It says here now, the snowflake is on my radar as well. That's DA Machine 3. So he's got a snowflake on the radar screen. And Grand Seiko's signed crown looks killer. Yeah, those crowns are killer. Okay, let me, I'm going to cut back to my diver real quick. Time check, it's 25 minutes after the hour. And now let me go to the photos that you were talking about. Okay. And all right, now I've got the photo of the GMT, the limited edition, on the screen. Photo number 007, SBGN007. Steve, are you there?
Yeah, but it hasn't shown up yet.
Oh, that's because of the delay. Take my word for it; it's on there. Right.
And then we've seen this. It's essentially the same watch we've been looking at. And
now that's dark green.
It's not as dark as you think.
Okay.
It's an interesting forest green, I would say, and
that is really cool with the gold. Grand Seiko.
Yeah, it really looks nice. I like it.
And the gold hand. That is stunning. Folks, can you all say stunning?
Stunning.
Absolutely. Okay, let's go to the next photo. I'm going to try to go to the next photo at least. Okay, and this one looks like the one with the blue dial?
Oh, well, this is the orange. The
black dial. Black dial with the orange, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And you got the lag going, so hang on.
It still looks nice, folks. I mean, it would almost be a coin toss between that and the blue, but I like the blue, but I mean, they're both absolutely stunning. That polished bezel looks so good. Thomas liked the polished bezel on the other one. Yeah, I agree. That's a gorgeous watch. Steve, I have a vintage high beat Seiko that does not hold a vintage high-beat Seiko that does not hold a charge very long. How do I go about having it serviced?
Reach out to me. We'll help you out, Colin.
Okay, there you go.
Yep. Steve at littletreasury.com.
Why can't the Day-Date 40 be a traveler watch? We're going to talk about that. It absolutely can. It's on the thumbnail. It's on the thumbnail for today's show. We're going to talk about some options here after we wrap up with these watches. Absolutely, the Day-Date 40 could be a traveler's watch. Make sure you don't get hit over the head. But other than that, let's see, stunning. And the Watch Lounge says the great thing about the G-Shock I'm wearing now is all you have to do is go into the app and change it to the local time wherever you're at in the blue. Well, same thing with the Apple Watch that I'm wearing right now. If I go across the time zone, it automatically changes. So there's that. The green dial GS is razor sharp, somebody says. All right. Okay, let's go to the next photo. Let me click over. All right, this looks like a photo of the 005. This is the blue. And it is stunning. That's a stunning photograph, Steve. You did a good job on that photo.
Thank you. It's your coaching, Craig. You're nudging. It
looks stunning, folks. We got to leave that one up for a little while, folks. Let me know. Am I just am I seeing things, or is that watch absolutely stunning? Absolutely stunning. Let's see. I prefer the hours on the bezel. Keeps dial cleaner and easier to read. I hear you. I hear you, Colin. I agree with you on that. And the nice thing about the GS is the bezel's a little bit narrower than on an Explorer. So you're more efficient as far as the size of the dial. The size of the dial is a little bit larger, and the overall watch size is smaller. So it really is, they really nailed the sizing of this watch, I think, especially for a travel watch. They really nailed it to where this is a very manageable size, I think, for any wrist size. Carlos says, Steve, do you have any news about the Omega Speedmaster Moonwatch stainless steel with 321 movement?
I don't think it has the 321 movement, Carlos.
Okay. There you go. We'll look into that, Carlos.
Yeah, I've seen the watch. It's closely embargoed still.
Mm-hmm. Now, James says it's absolutely stunning, Craig. So he has voted yes on the stunning. DA Machine just bought my wife one on your thumbnail. Okay, I'm not sure which one. Let's see. You're right, Craig. It's stunning. I know, George. Of course, he's got one. Of course, it's stunning. RJ Lane, good point about the Explorer bezel width. I agree. Warren says agree, George. Okay, so let's go to the next photo. All right, now this one looks like you're showing off the loom.
It is.
Wow. That is stunning. Look at that loom, folks. I love the way the second hand is moving across. That's a cool shot.
Also, when that comes up, I don't think we can see it yet.
Well, they can. They can.
They can? I can't?
Oh, well, it depends. Yeah,
there we are.
They can see it because they're watching. Never mind. It's confusing.
Okay. All right.
They're watching before you.
Okay. Yeah, I got it. So you can see the second hand traveling. That was like a 3 or 4 second shot.
Yes.
And you can see how the second hand is just nailing the second markers perfectly, which is
exactly. And folks, when you're watching some of the videos on these things on YouTube or whatever, you might notice that sometimes it's not hitting the second hand. That's because of the camera angle. That's not because it's not hitting the marker. It hits the marker every time, but depending on the angle of the camera, it may look like sometimes it's not hitting the marker. So I've had people comment on some videos that, hey, look, it's not hitting the marker. Well, that's because of the camera angle. You can't get the camera angle positively accurate for it to be all the way around the dial on the markers. It might be part of the way on the dial on the markers and then part of the way not, because of the distortion of the camera angle. So there's that. Yacht Master, yes, we're going to talk about the Yacht Master. That's also a travel watch option. A beautiful loom shot, so clean and elegant looking. James in the house. Absolutely, these photos are stunning. I'm going to download these and put them up on my Flickr after the show. These are some good ones, so I can share some of them onto my Instagram as well. And we'll tag Steve. We'll give him some credit on these. Yacht Master 37 mil with the dark rhodium dial. That's another possibility, absolutely. Steve, if we all order the blue dial version, can we get a group discount? That's RJ Lane in the house. Well, you'd be lucky if you can even get one, RJ.
Well, how many are on online now? Let's find out what all means.
Yeah, find out how many you guys want. But, I mean, I'm telling you, these things are not as easy to get. And especially as we start talking about them more, a lot of these watches are getting harder to get. So I highly recommend people that want to have a Grand Seiko, grab it while the grabbing is good, because the prices are going up and they're getting harder to find. Steve, which Rolex watches have you owned?
I've owned one, the Datejust.
The Datejust.
Which was a promotion gift, which after the first year sat in the safe until I sold it about 5 years ago. Sorry.
Okay, so you didn't wear it that much, really?
No, not after the first couple of years.
Okay.
So let's go on to the next slide, because it's
the next one is another loom shot, and the second hand is further around. This is the loom shot for the 003 again. You want me to go on past that?
Yeah, go. I want to talk a little about the last one.
Okay, now we got a close-up of the dial in one of the hands.
Yeah, so I thought this was worth looking at for just the absolute precision of manufacturing. And you see the loom on the marker, and the scarred top of the marker, just beautifully executed, just everything perfect as can be. That was nice to take a close look at that.
Yeah, they don't mess around. Warren says, "Why are your deposits to Steve now?" There you go. Warren in the house. Absolutely. All right, let's go to the next shot. All right, now this is going to be the video, I think.
Yeah. I hope it's the right video.
Let me see if it will play. But, of course, we don't need it as much now because we already saw your other. Okay, it's playing now.
Yeah, you've seen pretty much.
Okay, now this is to show that second hand going along, and you see right there it's hitting the markers spot on at the top of the dial. See how it's hitting them spot on, and then as it goes around, oh, it just reloaded. Okay, as it goes around, it'll be off a little bit. See, now it's starting to get off a little bit. That's because of the distortion of the camera angle.
Yeah, absolutely. It's hitting.
But it is, these watches are amazing. And I remember when you first, I'm going to cut back to your live feed, Steve. I've got the watches on now. We're seeing them going around. I remember when I first came to your place, you told me that I should consider the 9F, and I discounted it. I just didn't know. I'm not interested, you know.
You did.
But
you
then
sort of just...
the more I researched them and the more I learned about them, it's an amazing piece. I mean, it's just freaking amazing, the work that they put into that and the durability of it. It's literally a 50-year no-service unit for 50 years. All you do is replace the battery every 3 years, and you don't have to service the thing. I mean, and they're super robust and super accurate, very shock resistant. I mean, it's just an amazing piece. Steve, what is the cost of a replacement battery for the 9F movement?
The cost, I guess, will depend upon the shop. Any shop can really replace the battery because it's encased in its own compartment in the back of the watch. And I guess, yeah, for us, maybe $35, something like that. again, the battery life is longer than we've been a dealer. So
yeah,
I've never.
well, yeah. See, here's the thing: the batteries are cheap. You can buy like 5 of the batteries for like $6 on Amazon. I mean, the batteries are not the cost. The cost is the labor of opening it up and putting the battery in, and you might be able to do that yourself. But what I will probably do, since I have Steve, you know, not too far away, if I get one of these watches, is I would just bring it over to Steve and have him put the battery in it, and pay him whatever he charges, because he's going to check the watch over and make sure that it's sealing again when it's all closed up. And correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what you would do, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so we would know that the watch is good to go for another 3 years of robust, trouble-free service.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So, wow, those watches are amazing. Can you put just the blue one on the screen? Get that other one out of the shot just for now, and center the blue one.
I think you're going to need one of these, Craig.
Get it right there. Okay, now focus on that thing. Refocus. Yeah. Oh, wow. Wow. That is pretty freaking stunning, folks. I don't know what you all say about that, but that is pretty incredible looking. Okay. Let's see here. Turkey Vulture says thanks. James says, you bet. Is Steve a Breitling dealer?
Steve is not.
Okay.
But talk to me.
Okay. Steve might be able to get you what you need. So that was Carlos. Carlos. Mm-hmm. Carlos, do you want to try to call in and see if we can get you in the here? And then we'll have you say hi to Steve, and then we'll probably let Steve go because he's got to do some deals. But while we're waiting for Carlos to come in, anything else you'd like to say about these puppies, Steve?
No, I just think if you get one in your hand, they're going to be a lot nicer than they look on the screen. So if you're nearby, come and see us. And also, I'm pretty close to announcing our date for our Grand Seiko novelty event here in the store. Mm-hmm. It'll be in a few weeks. We're just about finalized with the date. And those of you who are interested in traveling in, be able to buy your tickets somewhat in advance, and hope you'll do it.
Well, there you go. You got to get Steve. Get in touch with Steve. James Estrada. I love this one, Steve. I may have to pick one up from you. What does this GS go for?
They're all three that I showed are $3,200.
So the list price is $3,200, James. And talk to the man. Send an email to Steve at littletreasury.com. Get in touch with Steve direct, and he'll work with you. He'll make a deal. Make sure you mention that you're one of my wrench gang. He's a member of the wrench gang, Steve. So you got to hook him up.
Okay. All right.
When is Craig buying a Patek World Time? Probably not anytime soon. And James says, beautiful watch. Rob K says, what does Steve think of the moves Ball Watch has done over the last 2 years? Too much reliance on gray market.
You're probably right. I don't know about gray market, but direct marketing and taking advance orders. I think the pendulum's going to swing back a bit from what I've heard, and so we may be still in the game.
And so somebody asked, what's the retail price? Again, it's $3,200 on all the models he just showed. R.J. Lane says, Craig, do you like the white or black date window? I think on this watch, that date window looks stunning. I think it looks really good. I think it picks up off the loom, and it's very readable. I think they made, I really can't fault any of the choices that Grand Seiko made on this watch that's on the screen right now. I really can't. I mean, I'm very picky. And trust me, I would pick it apart if I could. The only thing I would like to see would be the micro adjustments on the clasp. But I will give them a pass on this because they're trying to make it very trim to the wrist, and so you can't do both. And this one has half links, and it's adjusted with screws, so it won't be that hard to take a half link out or in and out once a year. I generally resize my bracelets twice a year. In the fall when the cold weather comes, and then in the spring when the hot weather comes back, I just add another link back in. I take a link out for the winter. That's all I do as far as adjusting my bracelets. So your mileage may vary. Lovely case, beveling, beautiful GMT, says Warren. Have you sold, hey Carlos, have you sold any of your watches yet? Well, Carlos is going to come in. Carlos says Daytona is spoken for Saturday. Carlos, come on in and let's give a live report. Let's get a live update. Turkey Vulture's in the house. Almost reminds me of Rolex 1655. Absolutely. It's yeah, I mean, it looks like an Explorer. I mean, let's face it. But I think that it takes everything up a notch. Really does. Black dial has black date window. Just getting your thoughts. Let's put the black one on the screen for comparison.
Good observation.
Yeah, I think they both look good, but with the blue, I think it makes sense to go with the white background. You certainly wouldn't want the blue with the black background. You would maybe have the blue if they would do blue. That'd be fine, right? But I certainly wouldn't want the blue with the black like we're seeing now. So that's probably why they did that. That's probably why they went with the white. I think it makes more sense on the blue dial. But we're really splitting hairs here. Either one is absolutely cool. Case size is about 39 mils, correct? Correct.
The green one is 40.
Yeah, and it's only about 12 mils thick, so it's very trim on the wrist. Earlier in the beginning of the show, we showed the gentleman had it on his wrist and all, and it looked absolutely fantastic on wrist. So just check that out in the beginning part of the show. Oh, he says he's calling. I don't see the call coming in. Try again, Carlos. Let me click on add him and let me see if I can call. I'm going to try to call you. Oh, here it is. He's coming in. Okay. Let's see what happens here. Okay, Carlos is coming in.
Hello.
Hello, and make sure you got your camera turned on.
Let me
take your time. Let me click on add him and let me see if I can call. And you're going to have to turn the volume down on your computer. We're hearing.
How can...
Okay. There we go. Now I'm hearing. I'm hearing your. You got to turn down the volume on your computer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, probably the issue was I was initially making the call with the video call, and it seems that it didn't sound. It doesn't call you, but now it seems to work well.
Oh, there we go. Okay, so give us an update on the on what's going on. You said you might have the Daytona sold?
Yeah. Well, you know, until the thing is finished, it's not finished. But I have already spoken with. Well, I spoke, as I told the last time, with different people regarding that, and one of the trusted sellers or trusted dealers in one of the forums, I am meeting with him in this Saturday is the idea. But you know, the thing is not done until it's done.
Well, we'll keep our fingers crossed for you. Now, on the subject of this particular broadcast, if you had to grab one watch, if you were going to travel, let's say, to 5 different countries, and you had to leave right away, what watch would you grab and take with you?
It will depend on the countries. It will depend on the countries. All right,
let's say I'm going to throw a curveball at you here. Let's say you didn't even know which countries. Let's say you were going to the U.S. first, and then you were going to 4 other countries, but you didn't even know yet which countries.
I don't even know the Explorer. Explorer 139.
Okay, hey, that's not a bad choice. Do you have it? Do you have it handy? Is the watch handy?
No.
Okay.
In fact, today I went to the safety box to leave things there, preparing for the travel.
Okay.
And in fact, that was the reason, because I was asking if Steve is a Breitling dealer, because I had two cheaters in the safe, but cheaters that I have a bit of feeling with them.
Okay.
And I went to change the batteries because both are quartz, and I've noticed that well, I will put it that this Breitling, that is really the first let's say quality, or let's say above average watch that I had. I think that was 25 years ago, a gift from my parents. I changed the batteries, but something is wrong. The quartz screen is not. It says that is not working, and I will check what happens.
It may be done for, but at least the watch itself, the main part, works still.
Yeah, I will check. In fact, I've added to the things to do in LA, the visit to the Breitling boutique. Probably repairing it is very expensive. I check in Chrome 24. That is a watch that is like $1,000 or 1.5 at the most. But it's something that I really care. I really, this was my daily wear for lot of time.
Okay.
From my parents, you know.
Okay, but hey, don't spend a lot of money on it, Carlos. Just keep it the way it is. It's fine the way it's working.
Yeah.
All right. So what watch do you have on your wrist right now?
The other seater that I am deciding what to do. That it has very bad feeling from people, but I really was very happy at that time, and I really used long time, and this was in a time that I was wearing very formal every day, and I purchased myself.
Well, that's a good-looking watch. There's nothing. You don't have to be apologetic for that watch. That's
no. I am not apologetic. I've lost the image.
Your video froze up.
My video.
It froze.
I am receiving a call. Okay.
So yeah, that's. And it looks very trim on your wrist. It looks very good on the wrist.
Yes,
is that strap leather or rubber?
No, it's rubber.
Okay.
In fact, this rubber strap is rubbish. Okay. I had to change it like 2 or 3 times.
Okay.
And it's very expensive, and as it does not have any way of sizing, you have to really get the very specific sizing, and you don't have any way to turn it. But
only reason I'm laughing, Carlos, is you've got all these beautiful watches that we reviewed the other day. I mean, stunners, right? You've got the Datejust, I mean, you got the Explorer, you got the Date 840, you got all these wonderful watches, and you're wearing these things.
No, I am. No, just today I went to the safe, and by the way, I am checking if it's working correctly, because I haven't. I don't know when was the last time that I used it. Just today, just to check if it's working correctly. Just, and you know, I am a bit sentimental, but when I wear this watch, really was a very important time in my career, and I have lot of memories.
All right.
Probably it's also is a watch that now is, I think that at the most 1,500 or 2,000, and it's an example of the things that you say, because I don't know, but probably I remember that I purchased this in an ID in an airport, and probably it was at that time $3,000 or $4,000.
Really?
And I am, yeah, bro, yeah. These watches were expensive, and at that time were very appreciated, or at least I felt very, very good. At that time, I was working for one of the big four services companies, and this was one of the better watches that you see in the company, and was a very, very big consulting company. Yeah? And
all right. Well, we have a question for Steve in the chat here. Steve, are you still there?
I am.
Steve, what is your personal Grail watch?
Okay. If I were to buy a watch right now, I probably would go for the H2.
H2, what's that?
Okay.
the Harrison too.
EICHE2.
Okay.
It's a Crador.
Oh, okay.
Grand Seiko Crador with the hand-painted dial.
Okay.
Beautiful piece. $53,000 platinum. Beautiful.
Is it still in production?
It's an extremely limited production, pretty much a handful a year.
Mm-hmm.
I will have a piece in the store for our Grand Seiko event for those who want to see this rare piece.
All right, so somebody put in the chat the SBGN003 black dial is slick. The SBGN003.
I like it too. That would be probably my choice over the blue.
There you go. All right. I think that we're going to probably let you go, Steve, because you've got things to do, people to see, and deals to make.
I do. I've got to take all the calls I'm going to get.
Yeah.
And I'm going to drop out. You got to change your little picture here. And
yeah, if you just hang up, then that way I don't have to do it on this end, and then Carlos will go full screen.
Very good.
So
okay,
thanks. Steve at Little Treasury.
Take care, everybody.
Yep. Steve at Little Treasury, if you want to grab one of those Grand Seiko travel watches. I'm going to call those a travel watch, those GMTs. Those are fantastic. All right, Carlos, what do you think?
Another thing that I am going to offer, if you think that could be of interest for the channel, is I will go on the next week, probably, I'm not sure, probably Tuesday or around that, to Rodeo Drive. And I think that in Rodeo Drive probably is the place where there are more boutiques. If someone wants that I ask something, but something that really is not common, and you really need to ask at the store, or to take a picture of a watch that is not common to see online. Tell me, if I remember, I was trying to write the stores that I remember there. Breguet for sure, because in fact I service their mine. Rolex, Patek, IWC, Jaeger, Le Culture, Bacheron, I think that it was there. Cartier, Richard Mille, Bulgari, Panerai, and Hublot that I remember in like 2 blocks. Those boutiques are in like 2 blocks.
Okay. Well, Colin's asking about A. Lang, the German folks.
I don't remember, but I have a plan regarding the thing on the Patek to go to a dealer that I know that has Lange. One dealer that there is in La Jolla, in San Diego.
Well, definitely take some pictures. Definitely take some pictures, and then when you finish your travels, we can have a show where you can share your pictures and talk about your trip a little bit.
Yeah, but I will take pictures of the things that I interest. But it's something of real interest for someone. But really, what I understand, what I ask is that it's something that is not easily available. Another way, thing that probably is difficult to.
Well, there you go, folks. There's an offer from Carlos. If you want him to take some pictures of some unusual pieces, let him know. Let him know.
Yeah. I would prefer not to ask for a price that is known or something. Yeah, something that really is interesting for someone and is not easy accessible. I will try to do it. I
Sure, absolutely. All right, well, it's almost 6 o'clock. I'm getting hungry. We're going to talk about a couple other watches. I'm going to let you go, Carlos, and have a very good trip. Good luck with your deal on the Daytona. And if you do get some time where you can join us, just let us know on your travels, and maybe we can do a live thing where you join us. Maybe you could even join us from Rodeo Drive live briefly and just kind of show us around the street there. That'd be exciting. So we'll
if you want, I can try it, but I cannot. The quality probably would not be very good because I would use. In fact, I don't have US data plan in my iPhone.
Okay.
I would use my iPad, but it could be. We can try.
Okay, no worries.
I would feel like Archie or something.
Yeah, absolutely.
That work.
All right. Well, thank you, my friend, and have a very good trip. Thanks again.
Okay, see you later. Thank you. Okay.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about. Live television here with folks coming in from all over the world and giving us the reports that we want and need. Absolutely. That's the way that's going. Remember, we heard about this watch the other day. That was another live call in on that 600-meter diver. So we're getting folks from all over. And Thomas says, thanks for your time, Carlos. Absolutely. Absolutely thank him for his time. This is what we're doing here. People that are in mover and shaker, people that are in motion, making things happen. That's what's going on around here. Now, let me see. I'm going to pull up Chrono 24 real quick because we got to mention a couple other watches. Because there are other travel watch options, folks. There are other travel watch options. So let me go to my notepad here on Chrono 24. And you can see here, there's a few watches that I threw into my notepad getting ready for the show. These would all be excellent options for travel watches. The GMT Master 2, there's an older one there for $12,000. Here's, of course, the Pepsi. Of course, you'd want to buy one of these at list from the AD. You wouldn't want to pay the markup prices. But if you could get one for list, that'd be a good move. This is the watch, this GMT2 here. This is I wore one of these for years. I had this exact watch. I also had an all-black bezel on a Jubilee. But I had this one for a while, and I wore it. I really enjoyed it. That would be a fantastic travel watch. Absolutely, positively. No ifs, ands, or buts. I used it for that purpose. So there are competitive options here, folks. And, of course, we talked about the Explorer. You can see right there. The Explorer is just a fantastic travel watch, beater watch, just multi-purpose. They're nice and thin on the wrist, just like that Grand Seiko we talked about. Same thing with the Datejust. Datejust 36mm Datejust is a very versatile watch, extremely versatile. It absolutely would make a good travel watch option. Travel/versatile watch option. And look at this turnograph, this old turnograph. It's on a strap. But how much character does that have? And look, it's $3,000. I mean, that's about the same price as that Grand Seiko. But look at that. It's got some character to it, folks. So we're looking at competitive options here. Here is the 36mm Datejust with the blue dial. Can you say stunning? Can you say that is stunning? And we didn't talk about the GMT or Yacht Master. We're doing it now. We're doing it now. Overpriced Rolex. Love the classic Explorer. Thomas in the house. Let's look at these other competitive options. I put these in the list here for a reason. Of course, I left a Patek from the other day in there. And there's a we'll leave that in there just for fun. The Omega, the older Seamasters, the older ones that were a little more trim on the wrist might be a competitive option, but I'm not so sure. And I would not, most of these Seamasters are might be a little bit too thick to push into that option. Now here's the Grand Seiko that we talked about. Here's one for just over $3,000. Here's the Yacht Master. And we've talked extensively on previous shows about this watch. I really think for a modern Rolex, you can't beat this watch. This is under 12 millimeters thick. Let me say that again, under 12 mils thick. The only thing I don't like about this watch, the only thing I would change about this watch is I don't like the polished center links. But I'll give it that. I'll forgive it that little issue, because otherwise it is just such a fantastic piece. It's got the beautiful case design of the pretty similar case design to the Daytona, and just a great all-around multi-purpose do anything super watch. I'm going to call this a super watch, folks. A super watch. Look at the shape of that case. And it's got a, high-end clasp with micro adjustments. So there are some competitive options there. A little late, but in the house. Our Wags. You missed a heck of a show, though. And you get a piece of platinum. Absolutely. That platinum bezel is stunning. Can you guys say, man, that is stunning? Wow. That's all I can say. Wow. Wow. So when you're traveling, get yourself a nice heavy-duty watch to travel with. I'm still looking for an all-arounder that I can use. And the Grand Seiko, let me go back here. Let me find a photo. Let's see here. This puppy here is definitely a finalist. That is definitely a finalist, folks. That is a gorgeous piece and very affordable. You can snag one for around $3,000. I don't know. I can't say too much about that watch. That is absolutely pretty freaking fantastic. So we're going to wrap this puppy up, is what we're going to do. And I think we had a great discussion. I think we showed a lot of interesting options. We discussed what makes a really good travel watch. And we're just over an hour. We're coming up on an hour and 6 minutes. As you can see there on the Grand Seiko Stunner, the Grand Seiko spring drive. That's one of the most accurate spring drives in the country. See, there's some dust and a little thingamajig near the date window. That's just dust laying on there. Let's see here. Craig, how deep can I dive with the Yacht Master that you showed us without any damage to the watch? I mean, 100 meters at least. I don't think most recreational divers go that deep, do they? I mean, I don't think you're going to have a problem. I think they're rated at 100 meters, but even if you went like 150 meters, they err on the side of caution on those ratings. I wouldn't worry about it personally, but that's me. I just wear my watches. I don't worry about it. If I happen to be diving and I'm diving that deep, I've got a lot of other things to worry about other than the watch, I think. I think the watch is going to be fine. I just would hope that I would be fine. So, yeah, I think we did it. I think we did a neat little show here. A neat little show. So I'm going to pull up the little app here. We're going to terminate this broadcast so that I can get something to eat. Let's see here. Apparently the Zenith Defy Lab is more accurate than the spring drive and is fully mechanical. Wow. Probably not more accurate than mine, though. Mine is amazing. So there's that. But that's interesting, the Zenith. I didn't know about that. That'd be interesting to know about that, but I'd be shocked if it was as accurate as a spring drive. No way, I dove to 45 meters only twice. Well, there you go. That's what I'm saying. I don't think people are going to dive deep enough to have a problem with that watch. I really don't think they're going to. And we got an awesome show comment. Awesome show. All right, folks. Thanks again for watching. This has been real. This has been real. People in motion, making things happen all over the world. That's the kind of content you get here. And it is a troll-free zone. Troll-free zone. Thanks, everybody, again, for watching.